important to God. You're part of his integral part of his plan. Why wouldn't he care for you? So that's the first teaching we learn in verse 26 and 27. But today we're looking at this idea of outward appearances. And when you are worried about what you look like to other people, that hinders you from teaching the lessons that God has equipped you to teach. And Jesus takes that a little bit further to try to help us understand this by comparing something of the splendor of nature to what we would consider to be the peak of human opulence, right? Solomon, right? Especially for the Jewish people, he's basically the pinnacle of opulence with all of his wives and money, and he builds the temple and it's coated in gold and on and on and on. And so we consider that to be the peak of honor before God, but only to process God's plan and see that, yeah, God's plan is superior in all of these things. So Jesus is a very wise teacher, and because of that, he starts out with a question, and that's where all of this starts. If you look at verse 27, you can see that was a question. But if you look at verse 28, its opening is a question. And this is how good teachers teach. They ask. They ask you to answer the question. And this is an open-ended question. It's not a yes or no question. It says, "And why are you worried about clothing?" question mark. And that's an important point, because a lot of people would say, yeah, this doesn't apply to us. It doesn't apply to us. We live in, look at the clothes you're wearing. Look, well, you're not worried. If you get a hole in that jacket, you got another one. Yeah, but not a black one. You hear how ridiculous that sounds? And so in the face of that, why are you worried about clothing? That's not really what he's asking about, though, is he? But let's look at the question anyways. The question is really a little further reaching. What he's saying is, what reason do you have to be concerned about what you're wearing? The reason that you're concerned about what you have. Not just are you, reason behind that. Why are you concerned? So at a time of year where this is on a lot of people's minds, I mean, a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, a lot of thought may have gone into what you wore this morning to church. If you look at my tie, it's got a manger on it. It has, it says, "Oh, come all you faithful." All these things. So some thought went into what I was wearing, but at a time of year where this is on people's mind, what you're wearing, what you're giving, and a whole bunch of other considerations, let me ask you a question. Why do you adorn your outer appearance the way that you do? Why? You say, this is really silly to be talking about these things. But as we go further, you'll kind of understand. Because the question that follows after that is, are you concerned with what people think about you? That's really what he's asking. He's not asking about your clothes. And we see this, right? He's not worried about your clothing because he talks about Solomon in the very next verse. So are you wearing what you think you're wearing, or are you wearing because you want to fit in? Right? That's a very popular thing to do. Hey, this is right? You go into the department store and you look at what the mannequin is wearing. Oh, the mannequin is wearing this clothing, so I too should wear this clothing so I can be part of the in crowd. It's a little more stronger for kids these days. What is it? Are you wearing on TikTok, right? That's the thing. Oh, what are they wearing over there? Oh, I should wear that. I was just talking to Josiah when I was growing up. The cool thing was to wear a suit and wear tennis shoes at the same time, but Stacy never let me get away with that, so do that. But the reality of it is, you're talking about fitting. Wearing is what you're wearing because you want to fit in. Well, that's wrong, because that's conformity with the world, right? You're conforming to the world, and we're to be separate from the world, right? So if you're wearing what you're wearing to fit in, you're conforming to the world. Okay, Pastor, all right, let's get past that. That's not me. So then non-conformity, right? That's what you're doing. I wear this because I'm not going to wear what the man is wearing. I'm going to wear this because I'm making a statement against corporate clothing, so I'm going to wear clothing that's sourced from bamboo grown on a ecological farm and yeah, look at this. I don't care if it's green and black and purple and orange and every color of the rainbow. I don't care what it is. because I'm not going to conform to your standards, man. Right? You know that growing up. So if conforming is wrong, then non-conforming is right. I'm not a sellout. I'm not going to sell out to the corporate Levi's brand. Well, guess what? You're wrong again, right? Because you're a rebel now. Now you have a rebellious spirit. First off, you're conforming to the world. Well, now I'm going to be a rebellious spirit in what I wear. I'm going to rebel. So that's also sinful, right? Because we are to be peaceful and subject to the authorities that are put in place over us. Romans chapter 13, right? We see this very clearly. A rebellious spirit is not one that God looks well upon. A spirit that conforms to the world is not one that the Lord looks upon with honor. This is about what the Lord looks upon with honor. That's what this whole section is about. It's not about your clothing. It's about how God sees you. Okay, Pastor, fine. So I'm not going to conform with the world, and I'm not going to be a rebellious non-conformant. I'm going to dress because I am an individual. This is me. I'm going to express who I am and what I think I am and how I see myself. I'm going to express all of that. You hear that garbage today. Snowflakes. I'm dressing to who I really am. You know,